It was 5:23 p.m., and on that evening, a single U.S. Air Force F-16 from the 421st Fighter Squadron carved a lone streak of light over the Red Sea, providing top cover for a naval task force cruising carefully along the shoreline. The sortie had been quiet, almost uncomfortably so. The pilot had been in that familiar state of alert calm, one you fall into after hours of silence, when even the hum of the turbine becomes a kind of lullaby. But war has a way of turning calm into chaos with almost vindictive precision. Unbeknownst to the pilot, hidden somewhere near Hodeidah, a Houthi SA-6 battery had found its mark. Its operators, likely hunched over antiquated radar consoles humming with Iranian upgrades, decided their moment had come. And with a shriek of igniting propellant, a missile leapt skyward, angry, fast, and hunting. The SA-6 is no toy. Even in its older forms, it was engineered to kill fast-moving fighters, reaching speeds nearly 3 times that of sound. At full burn, it can cross its effective range, 23 kilometers, in well under 20 seconds. For the pilot, that meant a heartbeat, maybe 2, no more. But the F-16 is not a helpless bird. It is a creature bred for survival. Its protection begins at the nose, where the radar watches the sky like a sleepless eye. So when the SA-6 broke free from the horizon, the radar caught the telltale streak of heat and metal at 42 kilometers out, long before the pilot ever saw it with human eyes. Training kicked in. The pilot yanked the stick forward and threw the F-16 into a steep dive, from 30,000 feet to 15,000. It was a survival move, taught and retaught. Break the enemy's lock, shock their fire control system, force the missile to lose the energy needed to intercept. But the SA-6 is a semi-active seeker. It does not fly blindly. It feeds on radar illumination provided from the ground, the Houthi radar painting the F-16 with more energy every second. As long as that invisible beam remained unbroken, the missile would keep coming. And so it did. The radar on the jet, despite its sophistication, struggled as the F-16 dove, twisted, rolled, and jerked through the sky. Its tracking cone narrowed, and incoming threats slipped into blind spots. The system can follow 20 targets at a time, but not when the jet is practically breakdancing through the air. That's when the pilot turned to the next defense layer. Beneath each wing pylon, the F-16 carried something deceptively small, the PIDS, or Pylon Integrated Dispensing System. It's the kind of equipment crews quietly swear by, unglamorous, unassuming, but worth every kilogram of its 19-kilo weight penalty. Each PIDS unit carries 6 AR-60 ultraviolet sensors, forming a continuous sphere of missile detection. When those sensors lit up with incoming threats, closing inside 10 kilometers, the system reacted instantly. It disgorged 12 flares and 24 chaff bundles, filling half a kilometer of sky behind the jet with a roiling, glittering cloud of heat and metal. For a moment, it seemed the missiles hesitated, but only for a moment. The SA-6s continued to find the aircraft through the haze, their seekers still clutching the radar beam shining up from the earth. The pilot had one final card to play. Slung under the belly of the jet sat an electronic warfare pod, a small black box of trickery, but one that could turn a missile's brain to mush. When activated, the pod emits a carefully crafted storm of radio frequency illusions across 2 to 20 GHz, more than enough to overwhelm the SA-6's guidance channel in the 6 to 8 GHz range. The second the jamming began, the SA-6s faltered. Their link to the ground radar flickered, then died entirely. Their accuracy collapsed by 70%. Suddenly confused, they drifted off course, climbing into ballistic flight paths that sailed harmlessly past the F-16. It was a narrow escape, too narrow. But the day was not done with American aircraft. 44 minutes later, 6:07 p.m., an MQ-9 Reaper drone circled quietly 50 miles northeast of Hodeidah. It was on a routine reconnaissance mission, watching Houthi convoys slink between villages like desert phantoms. The Reaper's operators sat safely in an air-conditioned station thousands of kilometers away, sipping coffee, watching thermal silhouettes shuffle across their screens. The Houthis, humiliated by their failure against the F-16, decided to try again. The Reaper does not enjoy the luxury of fighter-grade sensors, but it carries its own guardian, the Pandora missile warning system, a compact, fiercely capable package that reacts faster than any human could. When Pandora detected the hot flare of another SA-6 launch, the drone's systems came alive. Within 8 seconds, the Reaper commanded its ANAL-47 dispenser to fire countermeasures, even as it clawed upward through the sky to get above 15,000 feet. Below that altitude, blind spots open beneath the drone's belly, dangerous places where missiles can hide. Flares erupted from its wings like molten raindrops, 8 of them in 4 seconds, and a chaff cloud spread behind it like metallic fog. The Reaper had a limit: 60 flares and 120 chaff bundles, good for about a dozen engagements. Too many more, and it would be forced to abandon mission. But it survived, barely. When the drone finally returned to base, ground crews found several of the SA-6's 12,000 steel pellets embedded in its right wing, like tiny metal teeth trying to chew through the airframe. The Reaper was wounded, but alive, and thus began a new phase of the conflict. The United States had tolerated many provocations in the region, but firing on a manned American aircraft was a bright red line. Within minutes, the Pentagon, CENTCOM, and the White House were locked in discussions. Within hours, the decision was made. 8 hours after the attacks, the destroyer USS Spruance, not Spruant, received its orders, closed the distance to Yemen, and prepared to strike. Tomahawk missiles were the obvious choice, but the Navy opted for something more symbolic, something unmistakable. They selected the SM-6. An air defense missile by design, the SM-6 is one of the most advanced in the Navy's arsenal. Fast, smart, deadly. It carries a massive 1,500 kiloliter warhead and flies at Mach 3.5. In recent years, it had quietly been modified for surface strike missions, though this capability had never been publicly used. Tonight would be the first, because the target, a mobile SA-6 launcher, and its IS-91 radar, was moving. Slowly perhaps, but constantly. The Tomahawk's long flight time risked missing. The SM-6, blisteringly fast, would not. Combat watchstanders rushed to plot dozens of waypoints, complex zigzag paths to prevent interception. With the firing plan approved, the crew braced. At 3:45 a.m., 2 SM-6 missiles erupted from the vertical launch cells in pillars of white flame, screaming into the night. 6 minutes later, they obliterated the launcher. Signals intelligence confirmed 8 Houthi operators eliminated. But that was not the end of it. The Houthis had between 12 and 15 SA-6 launchers, many upgraded with Iranian-built modern seekers. One destroyed launcher was not enough. So on February 20th, the United States escalated. At 6:30 p.m., FA-18s roared off the deck of the USS Harry S. Truman, not with ordinary bombs, but with AGM-154 JSOW long-range glide weapons capable of sailing more than 120 kilometers before raining down explosive bomblets. Wave after wave of Hornets slashed across the Yemeni sky for 5.5 hours, striking storage bunkers near Sana'a. When they were finished, the destroyer USS Gravely fired 6 Tomahawk missiles into the smoking remnants, ensuring nothing remained but twisted metal. By dawn, the tally was devastating. 14 ballistic missiles destroyed, 3 launchers eliminated, 23 anti-ship cruise missiles neutralized. A crippling blow, but not a final one. The Houthis still held weapons. The conflict, still simmering, will almost certainly demand more days like this. More decisions, more consequences, and more moments where the line between survival and destruction is measured in seconds, in flares, in the silent hum of radar waves cutting through the night. For now, though, the message was clear. Firing on U.S. aircraft was a mistake the Houthis will not soon forget.